I had a lot of challenge, and today we are here. And because sponsors are on board, other persons are on board, I just like to say that you have to be determined, you have to be consistent in whatever you want in life, and it brought me here today. Although I had a lot of trials, a lot of challenges, we are here today, and once you have a vision, go after it, be determined. So Cinefex is here today. I hope you guys enjoy what we have to offer. I hope that the accommodation, you guys will see the film set over there, which Dr. Jackman will be able to demonstrate later in the day. So I must give thanks to God. I must give thanks to my family, and also must give thanks to persons who came out for an open presentation. So I love you guys, and do enjoy, and look forward for more from Cinefex Photo and Film Expo. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason, and certainly persistence and determination are key. Moving forward with the program this morning, I'd like to call to the podium Dr. Paloma Mohammed. She is a professor down there at the University of Guyana. In fact, she's the Deputy Vice Chancellor of PACE, former Director of the Center for Communication Studies, and also the founding Director of Cine Guyana. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome to the podium Professor Paloma Mohammed.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and happy International Women's Day to all you lovely ladies in the audience and all you wonderful men in the audience. Because society is a bird with two wings, and as much as we celebrate our women today, we don't want the men to feel as if they're excluded in any way. It gives me absolute pleasure this morning to bring greetings on behalf of the University of Guyana for this very special event. I stood behind the stage just now and I was listening to Jason, and in truth, the first time I came across this young man was about 3.5 years ago when he was speaking about his passion at Herdmanston Lodge at an event the University of Guyana had. He visited my office several times with this idea and had several starts and stops. And I'm really happy to see today that his idea is coming to fruition. And I think we really want to give him a big rousing round of applause again. To do something like this does not only require passion, but it requires a huge heart and a lot of courage, or what the Spanish like to call cojones. And so I'm sure he must be terrified because we've been in his shoes before. To do this, to see the outlay, but everything is coming together beautifully. I'm also very happy to see in the audience a virtual who's who of film and photography and theater in the country. And to see that you're still supporting young people, even though some of us are not so young anymore. In particular, when I walked in this morning, I was really happy to see Desiree Edgell. And Desiree Edgell has a very special place in the film in this country, and many people don't know this. But when I was 19 years old, don't calculate how long ago that was, I made the first video film in this country called Jezebel. And Desiree was starred in that film. That film was, when I look back at it, she was the star in the film, and it was a great international hit of small circuit. It wasn't, it was video, right? So it wasn't 18mm or anything like that, 16mm. But when I look back at that film now, and how excited we were to make it, and how we made it, and my students say to me, Doc, we would like to see it. I'm like, no. It's horrible, right? But the truth of the matter is we were doing it with nothing, with a shoestring, and at the time, which was about 20 years ago or more, it was cutting edge. but now you have so much more to work with. The other person I'm seeing in the audience is Denise Harris from Harris Productions and from Cine Guyana. And I note on the program that you have one of our former students, Yafet Jackman, who is the pride and joy, one of the pride and joy of the Center for Communication Studies, because he is our first MFA, Masters in Film, coming out of the center. I'm coming out of a program which he eventually became a master's student in with Ohio University that founded Cine Guyana, that produced 11 films about 4 or 5 years ago. Now, one of the things that has struck me from the first time I met Yafet, again coming back to dedication and passion, was before Yafet became a student in the Center for Communication Studies, he was engaging with us in our summer programs. And in those summer programs, Denise was also part of that, and several other people, when Ohio University was coming to the University of Guyana, helping to build out our television program, which eventually became a film program of sorts. And one of the things that Yafet always had in his head, even though he didn't know how it was going to happen, was this love and passion for film. And he would always say, I am going to be a filmmaker. And today, I don't know, maybe 10 years later, he actually is. And he's here to speak with you about that experience and that journey. I see around me also a young man running around with cables, and I've known him for 25 odd years, called Rudy Saul. Rudy Saul is another one of those people who is so in love with film and photography and videography that he's been running back and forth in this country for many, many years. And just told me when I looked up and saw him this morning, he said, yes, Doc, I'm back. So I said, well, we know your navel string is buried here. The point I want to make is that this dalliance with film and photography and video has been going on in this country for a long, long time. But we've never had a film and photography expo. And it took a young man like Jason and those people who support him, support his vision, and who are willing to support people like me when I was 19 years old to see this happen. And so we really, really, really think that this is a landmark, beautiful moment that should be celebrated. Now, one of the things that, yes, please. One of the things that is always saddening in Guyana is that when you see beautiful sparks like this happen, you wonder what next. Because this should be the beginning of something. It should not be a spark and then it dies. And one of the things we have to really seriously consider is what is the supporting structure and what are the mechanisms in place to support this and other ventures like this and to ensure that they grow from strength to strength. I see somebody from the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce around, I believe, and a couple of years ago, they were involved and tried to do something in terms of supporting film, creating a creative infrastructure for film. And so I want to hope that this is something that continues with the Ministry of Social Cohesion. I know that Minister Cathy Hughes is also working on a film commission, because one of the issues in the country is the regulatory framework that is necessary for films coming into the country and how we regulate those, how the local people get involved and so on. So there's work going on around that. But I'm here representing the University of Guyana. The last thing I want to say this morning is that the very long-awaited Masters in Film, visual communication, which has a strand of film and photography, is actually going to start in September 2019. We have been working on this for a very, very long time, but we needed to find the kind of robust and strong people to teach in the program. So we've been lucky to get some people from EU, some people from Canada, some people from the Caribbean, and some of our own alum. One of the first people I taught when I came back, who's coming back with a PhD in film from India in May, to be able to push that program forward. So I really think that it's a very beautiful, opportune, wonderful moment for all of these things to come together. And so people who are out there interested in film photography, interested in being certified, UG is stepping up this year. I want to commend this exhibition to you and to say to all those people who are involved, thank you so much for supporting Jason's vision. Thank you so much for supporting the visions of everybody else who is involved. I see my old friend, the dancer, running around. What's his name again? Oral Welchman. Oral. Still, again, doing what he did 25, 30 years ago, supporting us young performers. So it's really, really great to see everybody here. And so have a wonderful expo. The university is standing by to support in any way that we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your words of encouragement, Dr. Mohammed. She has to leave, but rest assured she'll be back later on. All right, so our next performer says he's enthusiastic and charismatic at the same time. In fact, he likes to sing, and because he likes to sing, this morning he will be performing for us, Call to Me. Yafet, do stand by. You're up next. So let's call Timothy Blair to the stage. Sorry, I almost forgot his name. So Timothy is going to be doing again, Call to Me.
Thank you, Jesus.